Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers around the world. I'm Fiona Langsharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Well, it is that time of year, and we are talking about our upcoming Gold Lactation Conference. You can find out all the details on our website right now, goldlactation.com. You know what's happening, right? You've been here before, you're excited about the content. There's all this new research, there's lots of great clinical skills, and you definitely don't want to miss out. So if you haven't had a chance to register yet, this is your opportunity. Get in right now. You can check out all the schedule, what's happening, all the new content, and of course, interactive sessions, networking. We've got everything for you this year. And that, of course, brings me to my guest here today, Lindsey Reeves. It's so great to have you here today. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So, Lindsey, of course, you're going to be here as part of the Gold Conference. You're going to be here live, which is really exciting.
Yes.
Lindsey is, I'll tell you, inside scoop already. Lindsey's already talking about the fact that she has more than an hour's content and she doesn't know how she's going to contain herself. She's so
Absolutely.
excited. And
There's so
so,
much to share.
so much to share. Lindsey, you're
Mhm.
going to be talking about making muscle and milk, the physiology of exercise and lactation. So this, of course, is no, undoubtedly, this is a huge topic, exercise and, all those food and diet and all those things postpartum. It's one of those things that I think that families want to know more about. Our mothers, definitely struggle in the first weeks and months. There's so much going on. It's intense, And
Absolutely.
I've had clients that have said to me, Fiona, I need to start running again. And they want to run within the first week. I'm talking like the first week, they want to get up and start running and exercising. And then I have other clients who are still wondering, is it safe? Does it affect my milk? What's going to happen to me? Or just the usual things that, the struggles of just being able to, do what they really want to do in order to feel good about themselves. So tell me, Lindsey, are these the things that you've heard before? Do you relate to what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. I think there are so many things that go into a lifestyle, and that's really what we're going to focus on in this presentation is how to help families to establish that lifestyle that they're looking for and what are they bringing to the table and what we can do to help them maybe modify some of those thoughts and make it into something that is attainable because it's our lifestyle in general is very fast paced, and
Right.
doing things like preparing food and finding time for exercise just on a average day can be very challenging. And then you throw in new little humans and everything becomes that much more difficult. You think in the early postpartum period where some families come in and you're like, well, what have you had to eat today? And they're like, I had a couple bites of the crust of the sandwich, that or the crust I cut off of my child's sandwich to pack their lunch for school. And so, you really can look at where people start and how to help them get to their end goals, which is another really important thing to think of is what do they have in mind is what this lifestyle will look like. And a lot of times it can be very extreme on one end versus the other end where they're currently living. And so, how do you kind of bridge that gap so that we can move into a healthier lifestyle without it being such a burden for the families?
Mm. And I think I was saying to you earlier that, I feel that even if the words are not spoken, I feel like my clients are thinking about it. They are thinking about, because they don't necessarily feel good. I mean, I think that's the reality. When we see clients, they often call us in for, because they're in trouble and they need support. And so we're
Absolutely.
faced we're faced with a whole list of things, usually fix the latch first, but it comes with a whole list, as we say. And so, from an IBCLC's point of view, or from, a lactation professional, um, it really it is part of my scope in order to talk about, healthy foods and exercise and know and understand, the limitations of what the body can and can't do at this point, correct?
Absolutely. I think we have professionals out there that can help you in developing your thoughts and skill sets if there's certain areas of that conversation that feels, weak for you. But I think as a whole, you're one of the frontline people that are there really having these in-depth conversations with the families because we're given more time most of the
Right.
time. We're given more time to kind of have these more intimate conversations where we can really jump into how they feel and what brings them in and things that we can do to support their goals. And certainly when you're able to see families over a period of time, you really build that rapport with them where they may be more willing to share struggles or things that they feel about themselves or what they feel they should be feeling.
Sure.
All the feelings,
All the
come up
things. Yeah.
in that lactation visit. And so I think that absolutely lactation consultants and lactation professionals are in a key role to be able to provide a big impact.
Yeah. No, I see that clearly now, and it's very interesting because yeah, we can collaborate and we can
Mhm.
refer them, out. But in that moment, because we know that exercise is tied to even, changing behavior. So if you
Mhm.
have a mom who is not feeling good, who is suffering or has some postpartum, and she really wants to breastfeed, really that could be part of the plan, to help her get outside, get
Mhm.
moving, something that starts to make her feel good.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting that I don't know if I've ever included that on my written plan before. This is just a confession right now. I think I've talked about it, but I don't know if I've ever included it, Lindsey. Is this something that you would relate to as well? Like lactation consultants just don't naturally do that if they're not in the health and fitness field?
I would say yes, for sure. And I think, what it ultimately comes down to, which is something that I used to kind of move us into the beginning of this presentation, is if we just go back to the very basics of
Mm,
moving our bodies and fueling our bodies and how simple it can really be, I think that we can pull a lot of these barriers just out of the playing field and like
mm,
thinking like on my intake form, what do I have about exercise? Well, it can start to feel very overwhelming to think like strength training and are you training for a marathon? Are you
right.
going to CrossFit or are you into yoga? Like, it can get very prescriptive when it
Mm,
doesn't have to be. And I think
hmm.
that's what most people bring into the world of exercise and nutrition is it can certainly have a role in medicine and be very clinical and, in I guess in theory, but it also cannot, and we can make
Right,
it like, how many times do you walk to your mailbox in the week? Like, do you
right.
always stop when you're pulling in your driveway in your car?
Yeah.
Or do you go park your car and then walk back and get your mail? Or,
Hmm.
just very basic things for how we can move more and the overall impact that can make in terms of mood and certainly helping to prevent or reduce postpartum anxiety and depression, and certainly getting your muscles back moving and coming back together. Your core
Sure.
is very impacted by
Yeah.
pregnancy. And so helping that process without having to lay down and do 100 crunches, that's not what it takes to
Yeah.
help your body to transform into the postpartum world. And
Mm.
so, yes, I can go on and on for sure, but we'll go
I
back to
love
your
that.
your
No, I
question.
love
But I think
that.
that's the big thing. Like, let's just pause and take a deep breath and start over.
Mm.
And I think that, when I first was asked to do this presentation, I was sitting in the carpool line to pick up my son. He's in kindergarten. And I was watching where the line is right beside the playground and they have
Hmm.
recess. And so I was just sitting there watching them, and like they're like sprinting, running, and like some are swinging and some are climbing, some are running and playing tag. They're all doing different things to move their body. And it's always amazing, when you go day after day and you watch, like, some are climbing and hanging one day and then the next day they're running. Like, they're so in tune to their body and what their body is asking for. Whether it's, man, my muscles just feel like they need to be used today. So
Sure,
they're climbing and they're going over the monkey bars. And other times, maybe they had a longer period of sitting in their chair and they're just like running as hard as their little legs can go. And that's what we need to go back to. Like, what
mm,
brings you joy? They're all happy as they can be. Um,
sure,
what feels good to your body on a given day, or a given period, like in the postpartum world, like 1 month postpartum versus 2 years postpartum, or two very
sure,
different time periods. And so, if we can really bring ourselves back into our bodies and not focus on the CrossFit or the marathon or all these outside goals that are just not reality for most people. And that's okay. That's not
sure.
really what we need. 1 30-minute block of CrossFit doesn't equate to the benefits that you get from just moving more throughout your day. And so I think that is one ultimate take home that I would love for people to have. And so having it on your list for your intake forms is a great way to really, like, find where they are. Are they
Hmm.
thinking they need to do the CrossFit, or can we just focus on walking down the road with your baby in a carrier and let
Yeah.
that be great for today?
Yeah, amazing. I'm so excited. I mean, I'm thinking about all the things now. I'm thinking about right now, today here where I am, we just got a huge dump of snow again. And so wintertime is really hard, and we need to be creative and, talking about, what families can do and how to support them. This is part of the big picture. And I think that's what we need to remember is that, exercise is part of a normal part of being well and healthy, and how important that is just for kind of that infrastructure mentally, emotionally, and physically. So yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you, Lindsey. You got us
You're
all going. We're
welcome.
ready to go.
Oh, yes, let's do it.
Well, thank you so much to you, Lindsey, for being here today. If you want to hear Lindsey's talk and so many more, come and join us over on goldlactation.com. You can register for this event right now. Lindsey's going to be here live. She is excited also to be talking to all of you at the event. We have a live Q&A planned for her as well as all of our other speakers. Now, if you can't make it to the live, of course, it'll be recorded for you at your convenience. But we're excited. We're going to be sitting down with Lindsey, of course, and all of you who come and join us. Thank you again to Lindsey for being with me here today, and to
Thank
all of
you.
you. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye for now, everyone.